shit. So put a money number down to it. I'm just kidding. Okay. Give me a hard time. Okay, ready? What's your name?
Jacob.
Okay. Hey, sorry to bug you. You must be Jacob, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I just want to make sure I have the right house. Did you know anybody on this list?
No, I don't recognize anybody.
Yeah, a lot of people knew like Steve. He's the one that told me to stop by. He's the one that just lives over here on the corner. Did he already call you? Did he tell you to come by? He didn't? Make sure I get on him. A lot of people knew Tiffany. She's the principal. Jacob.
Okay, I think I know Tiffany.
You do? How long you live too?
Like my whole life.
Your whole life? Cool. I'm not doing anything crazy. I know you make buying stuff from door-to-door people. You probably get a lot of those guys around, right? What's cool about what we do, all these people have already done what we're doing, so obviously we're not doing anything crazy. We're the ones doing all the renewable credits for this neighborhood. I'm in charge of your neighborhood, and all these people have already done it with me. And I can now go 4 different directions, okay? So you have the net meter pitch, you have the solar 101 pitch, you have the own versus rent pitch, or you have the solar straight up pitch, okay? So I'm going to give you you want me to go through all 4 of these?
Yes.
Okay, so I can do whatever intro, because I got to make sure I just win the first 30 seconds. So, ready? We're going to go different directions. And this really depends on those 5 things. But, if I'm saturated and I say the word solar, you go to Southern California and you say, we're doing solar, they're going to be like, solar, no! You're the 700th person that's been at my house for that. You know what I mean? Anybody's holding SoCal. You come here, people are going to be like, solar? Yeah, I've been seeing that. Like, oh, really? Cool. I heard my friend got that. Am I right? Or you might be the middle ground. You go to Utah and people are like, yeah, we've had people come by a few times and it's semi-saturated, okay? So, guys, I've sold solar in, 15 markets. So then I've had to kind of, okay, how do I train in so many different areas and companies and demographics? So I got 4, ready? This is the net metering pitch. This would be in a high saturation. So high saturation and want to avoid the term solar, okay? Which is probably not most of you guys. So anyway, we're doing the net metering program, which is really simple. They swapped out a lot of meters a few years back where they made them digital, where they can actually track forward and backwards. Your utility company has a program that they allow you to actually put a renewable source and buy the power back from you, and to where you can actually sell them your electricity, and then they give you power back. So it's a new program they rolled out. There's a lot of cool incentives. And then there's 3 net metering pitches. That's why I was like, which train do I go down? So anyway, we're basically seeing which ones qualify, so now I can do a pullback. Does that make sense? So I'm like, hey, we're seeing which homes qualify. Usually most homes do, not every home does though. So it's usually 1 out of 3 don't. So we just run a quick report, see if your home's a good fit for the new program, see if we can't save you some money on your electric bill. Pretty simple. So do you guys pay a power bill or the online or whatever? You can just keep it simple like that. I could go hard, go long term, go a little harder net meter pitch, or I could even go, I'm going to teach you a 5th one. Just thought of another one that you guys might like. So I could go that route of I'm avoiding solar, I'm going more their utility company is buying the power, or the meter, kind of playing on the meter. Now I'm going to go the high rate versus low rate plan, which is also going to be similar to this. Ready? So this is a new direction. High rate versus low rate. Ready? So if I put the framework of a door approach, write this down. The intro, the what. So what I'm doing, which is usually a program, and this is what I'm going on. These are all the different whats. Then I need to justify why. So a good door approach has these components. Intro, which is all those things. What I'm doing, which is the program. So I'm doing the net metering program. I'm doing the high versus low rate program. I'm doing the rent versus own program. I'm doing the whatever that is. And then I have to have a strong justification of why, which means what's in it for you, Jacob, and what's in it for me. Does that make sense? So what's in it for you, and then what's in it for me, and I've got to justify why I would be doing such a ridiculously crazy good-looking offer. Because they were going to think this is too good to be true. Then I pull back, that's number 4, and then I transition. So every good door approach has a good takeaway. Like I just did with them. I'm like, well, not like 1 out of 4 homes, doesn't fit. I'm not 100%, I wouldn't even know. and I'm kind of indifferent. Every door approach, you got to be not the needy, but the needed. Write that down. Don't be the needy, be the needed. You got to be indifferent. You can't be like, please, sir, buy my stuff. Nobody wants to buy from some desperate, crappy salesperson. They want to buy from the person that literally does everybody on the block. Okay. So, high versus low rate plan. You ready? Okay, wait, sit down. Let's give it up for Jacob. I'm going to pick on him. Okay, so let's skip the intro. Good job, Jacob. What's your name? Raul. Let's hit up Raul. So, I did the intro. I did those things. I'm going to give you the high versus rate plan. So I'm going to say what we're doing is we're helping people switch over to the low rate plan instead of the high rate plan. Have you heard about that? Like, how much did you pay for your electric bill?
Last month it was about 125.
125. Yeah, a lot of people in the neighborhood, they've really been complaining about the rates. And so they didn't know that there was another option of a low rate plan. I'm assuming you wouldn't be opposed to saving a little bit on your electric bill, right? No. Most people would never say no to savings, right? So I know it sounds crazy, just a lot of people just didn't know about it. They've been getting stuff in the mail, they see stuff online, but they don't know how to actually take advantage of a low rate plan. My job is to see which homes qualify for that, so that I can actually assess to see if they're a good fit for the low rate and see if we can't save some money. So it's not even going to cost you anything. It's not like I'm going to sell you a $2,000 vacuum. Like, it's just a simple check to see if you're a good fit or not.
Sounds good.
You can keep it very simple. Who's going to say no to that? This is if I want to avoid solar, right? And I'm in a high saturated, if I use the word solar, they're going to kick me in the nuts and tell me to go screw myself. If in a low saturated, I might start bringing up solar at this point. Does that make sense? So what's the situation? So that's high versus rate, or high versus low. High five. Okay, next guy. What's your name?
Kyle.
Kyle. Will you be my customer?
Sure.
Okay. Just kidding, bro. All of us with our masks. Okay, good. Just messing. Dude, I should have done like 5 people. Okay, so which one did I say I was gonna do? Rent versus own. Rent versus own. Ready? The what is rent versus own? This is my favorite. This is my favorite. You guys sell loans, most of you guys, right?
That's all we do.
Pretty loan heavy? Okay. Ready? So, hey, you're the homeowner, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. So what we're doing is a really simple program. We're just helping people own versus rent their power. So you guys like own the home, though, right?
Yes.
And like, how long have you owned it?
I've been here about 3 years.
3 years. Cool. Why did you choose to buy it financially instead of like rent it?
Just so I can eventually own it.
But like, why is that important?
I just don't want to be paying for a home for the next 50 years.
Yeah, like own it and then you have equity in it. And then if you ever sell, did you own your last house?
I do.
No. So you're like, finally, like, I can
Yeah.
own it. It's mine. I got to put money towards a mortgage, and then it comes. That's smart, dude. That's really smart.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Cool. So that's what we're doing just with your electric bill, because you pay every month to your electric company, right?
Yeah, $150.
Yeah, and it goes towards the garbage. You move in 5 years. Where'd all that money go?
Just down the drain.
And that makes you feel good, right?
Sucks.
Sucks. Yeah, so we're just letting you own your power instead of have to rent it all the time. So we just basically, instead of paying $150 you're spending towards electric bill that goes towards the garbage, you put it towards an asset that you own that sits on the roof. It's really simple. So not every home's a good fit. And the pullback and blah blah, and then maybe show it what's in it for me, what's in it for you, and I go to the why. But that would be my program. Does that make sense? Very good. It made sense logically. This does not work. So when I go to status, it doesn't work in like lower middle to lower. They don't get why they even own a home. Their logic does not make sense. They're like, well, I go, why do you own your home? And they're like, well, because I just wanted to put pictures on the wall, you know? Really? That's the reason you own your home? They don't understand loan to value, debt, like they don't understand real estate, like, like, no offense, but some of them would. You need to do this approach with people that have some educated, like, understanding of investment, return, ROI, yes. So, high five.
Thanks, man.
Okay, did you catch that one? Okay, next, what's your name? Oliver. Which one's it right now? Okay, we're going to do the solar straight up. This is my solar unsaturated market, a little bit more fresh, a little bit more assertive approach. Here's a different program that works. Okay, ready? Stand up, unless you're in a wheelchair. Oh wait, I've already done the first intro. I'm just going to go to the what. So what we're doing is we're literally lighting this neighborhood up with solar. So everybody's going to be going solar for the next 3 to 5 years. It's just kind of where things are going. Just like every electric car is coming out, everything's moving towards more renewable because it's cheaper, better, helps the environment. So we're just seeing which homes fit for the new solar program. There's a ton of government, state incentives, and utility incentives for you to actually do it. And it's not going to cost you anything out of pocket up front. I know that sounds too good to be true, and everybody's like, what? At the end of the day, everyone's going to do it. The government's putting a ton of money behind it, and so I'm just seeing if you're a good fit or not. Like, it's just really direct. And I'm like, let me step in and show you how it works. You know that everybody over the next 3 to 5 years is going to do it. You're going to do it regardless. It's just if you want to spend a ton of money, or if you want to do it through me where you don't have to spend anything up front. It's pretty simple. How much are you paying for your electric bill? $150? Oh my gosh, you're going to love this. So literally for less than what you're paying now, or around the same, you can literally own your power, you can go solar, help the planet, and it's going to save, it's going to be like the best thing since sliced bread. So high five. What's your name?
Oliver.
Oliver, cool. And I just go right into the transition. Let's set up a time, let me get your bill, let me go into the actual setting. Does that make sense? So that would be more of a solar direct, like everyone's doing it, you're an idiot if you're not, let's do this.
When would you want to do that?
So when you're so that one's good in a lower status and a low saturation situation.
When they're not sure why they don't know.
Yeah, it's like everybody's doing it, bandwagon the crap out of them. I'm like, okay, I'll do it if everyone's doing it. Does that make sense? And they don't, you're going off emotion, and you're going off of a feeling versus going off of logic. We're in a higher class neighborhood, you don't trick their emotions as quickly. Does that make sense?
So your approach is with different demographics of the neighborhood?
That's status. Yep. That's why I say you have to explain those 5 things, because that approach might not work in the $1 million homes as quickly. It will still work, but people are just a little bit more skeptical.
What do you find it works best for a $400,000 to $500,000 home neighborhood? What approach?
Well, $4,000 to $5,000 in Texas is different. I know, but that's what I'm saying. Here versus.
I guess upper class.
If that's upper class, here that's nice. So I like the rent versus own in those type of neighborhoods. My rent versus own because they're smart. They get it. So what did I just do with him? Where are they go? You. Where'd you go? Okay. The next one is I'm gonna do. Rent versus own. I'm just trying to think of ones I just did. Oh, Solar 101. Okay. So Solar 101. What's your name?
Cody.
Cody, stand up. You're my customer? Is this a flip phone? I do. I am so excited for you right now. Okay, so we got Cody. Got it. Where are you? I remembered it. I told you I was going to remember it. Okay. It's totally unrelated. That was like the rabbit that just went ADD. Raise your hand if you have ADD or think you do. Okay, thank you. You can relate. You just have one of those moments. Okay. So Cody, I'm gonna go. This is Solar 101. So this is like educating them on kind of the mandates. So is there somebody help me out? I don't know them here in Texas. But let me just give you an example, but you've got to do research. So this one, what you're doing is you're taking authoritative data and facts and being this expert, and you're going an authoritative, spew them with really important data and numbers. So I'm going to sound super sophisticated, which I can't even say the word, so obviously I'm not. So I'm going to be so what we're doing is there's basically a government mandate here. You probably heard from Governor Herbert what's going on, with the letter of the statute, where by 2024, they have a mandate to get X amount percent renewable energy on the grid, or they start fining the utility companies. So your utility company literally just created a new tariff that is on your bill. If you look at your bill on line 4, have you ever looked at your actual bill?
I have, but I actually don't look very.
Yeah, most people never look at line 4. It literally says fine, that says here's a fee for renewable. So what ends up happening is most people are paying for this new solar stuff that's going on. You've probably seen solar happening everywhere. Yeah, so what we're doing is seeing which homes qualify to take that money that you're already spending towards everybody else's solar and actually putting it back in your own pocket and actually owning your power. And so what ends up happening is over the next 3 to 5 years, if they don't hit their mandates, what's going to happen, utility rates are going to go like this, and they're already starting to get hiked. And I basically have a story, and I'm sure these guys know the story here. I don't know the story here, so I've never sold in West Texas solar. But what I'm getting at is each state utility and, whatever, like there's a Deepwater Horizon, you could use that story. Have you guys seen that movie, Deepwater Horizon, like the oil spills and, based on like some of the recent fires, oil spills, some of these natural disasters that would have happened, is what they're trying to do is decentralize a lot of where this utility comes from. Because if a power plant blows up, like what happens up just like on the Panhandle, I don't know if you guys were here 5 years ago when those big power plants blew up, stuff like that is catastrophic to the energy costs, the sustainability of like pipeline and distribution. And so what we're doing is we're actually putting micro power plants in everyone's home. And they found that it's a faster, better way to get renewable, clean energy into the grid. And so there's these mandates, state incentives, and government incentives where there's a 26% tax credit. Biden just renewed it based on XYZ, Clean Water or Clean Energy Act. You can pull out these articles. I'm just trying to sound really sophisticated. And then they go, what? And I'm like, it's really actually pretty simple. So I stun them through importance. So like pest control, where are my pest control people at? So they use the word like tranquilization. What is the words that they like? The granularization, and they are decapsulated. What's some of the words you use? Micro encapsulated. What is it? Thymotropic. And see what you're doing there? They're like, yeah, and so then these granulars are micro encapsulated in the thymotropics and they're like, huh?
So you're just essentially making them feel stupid.
Exactly. So I'm going to stun them, so my program, but it is all real. I'm just being the expert, and this is great in the middle to upper. If I start using words like microencapsulated in the hood, they're going to be like, what? But the upper, the ego, is going to be like, oh yeah, I know it, yeah, right? Like, I'm smart too, I make good money. And they're going to be like, I better keep up with this. I forgot to watch that news yesterday. Was that on CNN? I watched Fox. The ego inside them is going to try to keep up. And be like, yeah, we just didn't want to, obviously it's a lot. A lot of people don't know about it. So our job is just to help people educate and figure out where they stand with all these different credits. And I don't know if you're even a qualified candidate. I don't even know if you're one that would want to support kind of the renewal thing. Like some people are like, ooh, I hate the planet. I don't want to help it. I don't want to make energy, I don't want to clean up the environment. Some people are like, yeah, if it saves me money and I do it, obviously I want to support the mandate. So they're going to get forced to do it anyways. So anyway, not everybody's going to fit though. So what I do is I set up a time to see which homes qualify. I get your power bill. We do a design on the roof to see if the roof's good enough. There's a few things, but if you were a good fit, you literally get paid money because of all these mandates, and they're forcing this. You just get to take advantage of it. Just like the PPP money, you know how they gave everybody money and said, we want to stimulate this? They're doing that right now with solar.
For sure.
Yeah. Just a lot of people don't know. And then I would transition and go into okay, so let's set up time, when we come in. Does that make sense? So this is hard because I've knocked in so many different states and so many different situations to where I'm trying to teach you the principles. So the principle here is I'm taking an authoritative approach. Does that make sense? So in alarms, I'm like, hey, I'm in charge of the security in the neighborhood. You probably heard what's going on. It's basically every home in this neighborhood is going to be getting more protection because of we want to be more proactive. And I'm taking more of I'm a police officer versus, hey dude, how you doing, man? How long you live to? What do you do for work? And that's more of the I'm gonna be your best friend approach. Does that make sense? So what energy do you try to bring to each door? And what ends up happening, door-to-door salespeople, they get fixated on one profile. My invitation is the more you can be a chameleon, the more demographic you can sell. Does that make sense? You'll get good, and my invitation, if you're new, is good at figuring out what demographic you are good at selling. Say, this is my niche. I'm really good at the Latin hood. I'm really good at the middle class. I'm really good at the upper little, and get good and figure that one out, and then say, how do I how do I sell the single mom? How do I sell the old people? How do I sell the young people? New movements. And you're going to start adding tools to your tool belt and saying, I am a chameleon. Where is the situation, the status, the sex, the age, you know what I mean? And I'm like, he needs me to be his best friend right now because he's feeling lonely in quarantine. Or this guy's a freaking dick. He's like straight up lawyer guy that's like, what do you want? And I'm like,
Let's make him feel stupid.
I can play, so the microencapsulated tremulous granularization of the and he's like, wow, this guy knows his stuff. Right? Same thing, mandate this article, section 72, this thing on your line item on tax credit, like literally on page 2, line number 50, and all of a sudden they're like, I didn't know that. Oh, you're teaching me something. Cool. Thanks, Cody. Let's give it up for all the people who are